If you're a business owner or a leader in a high stakes business, you know that there are some decisions that cost you more than just money. They could cost you a client, a strategic partnership, your brand reputation, or maybe that key employee that you just want to keep. Not only that, but regulators are cracking down on companies trying to use AI as an excuse for delivering something wrong. And the thing is, there's always one person that's going to be accountable. If that person doesn't exist below you in an organization, guess what? That's you. You know who isn't at fault and who's never at fault? Well, it's the AI. It's your automation. It's your system. This is something that, as always, and if you know the phrase, the buck stops here, that comes into play here. Is that if you're a leader that is commissioning work to be done through AI or even an employee or somebody that's not you, you're still accountable because you're the leader at the top of the organization. Accountability isn't new, and it's not brought on because we suddenly have this amazing new technology that can make things easier, write great content for us, and make decisions a lot faster. Accountability is core to being a successful business person or a professional or a husband or a wife or a daughter, anything. Accountability is what makes us special and what makes us important and valuable to the people that are in our world, especially when you're running a business. Connecticut Supreme Court had a June 23rd ruling that effectively put the blame directly on the person who signs off. If they're using AI to develop court cases, which is okay, then they have to personally verify every single fact and figure that is delivered through their AI tool. No exception. And if they don't, not only could they be subject to a fine, but their case may actually be closed and completely thrown out because they didn't do the work. Now think of those consequences. There's probably something like that in your business that's very clear consequences just like that. But it's not just about the consequences. There's also wins too. There are organizations out there that are adopting AI and automation in a way that is very, very effective. The way that they're doing that, though, is that they're taking the important stuff, the human judgment calls, and they're keeping those signed off by a human being. But they're leveraging AI to do things like NHS Trust uses AI to triage different data and test results to identify whether the cancer risk is higher or lower for specific patients. Commonwealth Bank is using an agent to triage customer requests and put them where they have to be at any given time. A tracker at HEC Paris was tracking over 1,000 US cases and over 1,500 worldwide, and found that there were several cases that had at least a minimum of $5,000 fines just for getting it wrong. You may recall this story, but there was a lawyer that got in massive, massive trouble for using ChatGPT to build his case and found that 6, yes, count that, 6 of the cases he used for reference as part of his ruling were actually AI hallucinated. They were made up cases. I know. It's incredible. He was caught. He was fined $5,000. And he was very lucky that he was able to keep his job. I know. We've all seen this before. Hallucinations suck. More recent cases aren't so lucky. Fines are in the realm of 5 figures now, probably even climbing. And not only that, but think about the Connecticut ruling. The fine is not the biggest problem. It could also be that you lose your case, possibly your career. Now, I want to tell you about a time that I let automation do the work for me and trusted the system to do the thing properly and kind of got in a lot of trouble. Years ago, I was one of the proponents of marketing automation when it came out, and you could truly reach your entire database automatically just through tweaking a couple things in your CRM. And I built an automation that allowed people, once they come through the door, we were getting, at the organization I was working with, we were getting hundreds of leads a day, a lot of people coming through the system. And I made this one little automation that was meant to drive more people into calling sales. We had an attrition problem at the time. There was not enough people converting. So they'd generate the lead, and then only a fraction of those would actually get to the salespeople. So I put in a little email sequence that triggered immediately after the lead was done, and it was designed to get people converting. On my small test that I did before launching it organizational wide, it worked really well. Maybe a handful, I think was it like 12 contacts, something like that. It worked well and it did the job. But those 12 test cases had a lot of the right details in it. And it routed properly so that the emails were actually going to the right person, right time, right message, all of that. But what we realized is that leads were coming in from many different areas. And not all of those areas had the same quality of data. Then, when I had specific controls in place to keep the wrong email going out to the wrong person, when the data wasn't present and the information wasn't present, the controls didn't work. And so I got a call later than I'd like, and from one of my coworkers, and basically said that, Jeff, what did you do? Yeah. And apparently the wrong email was going out to people constantly, dozens of people in a day. And it was causing a lot of people to complain. So people were calling sales, sure, but they weren't calling to get to buy the product. They were calling to complain that they were getting all these stupid emails that didn't make any sense to them. And it was just a huge problem. Luckily, I had everything on my computer at home. I was able to fix it up really quickly and kind of go. But the fact is that I never said it was the tool's fault. I never, deferred my responsibility in that regard. It was my fault. I took accountability. I owned the mistake, and I put controls in place that were better than the original ones for the future. And that never happened again. I learned my lesson. This is earlier on in my career. And, now when I do worldwide campaigns, I've learned that lesson and I take it into what I do. And let's just say I don't make that mistake again. Now, I bet you're wondering, how do I take accountability for a software like AI? You might be an expert user. You might be new to AI. But there are ways to take accountability and do that on an organizational level. The way I would want you to do this is challenge yourself. Is think about any decision that AI touches and think of the person that you know from your organization that is accountable for that decision. So if you didn't have the AI tool, who would you go to be responsible for that specific thing? In my story, that was the automation, the sales automation. Okay, so think about that for a second. And what I'd like you to do is I'd like you to ask that person, could you defend this in front of a judge? Could you defend it in front of a regulator, an insurance adjuster, somewhere where the stakes really matter? If they can't answer it cleanly, you found the one place to fix before it costs you more than a fine. For those of you who have read the High Stakes AI Playbook, you might recognize this as Decision 6. It's really about identifying whether the technology you're implementing, in the book's case, it was AI, is actually valuable, or if it's just costing you, or if it's just giving you what I call the productivity mirage. Is it making it seem like tasks are easier and you're getting jobs done faster? And are you just forgetting that it takes you a lot of time to actually get it right? Are you accepting just putting in a question into your favorite AI model and then accepting that answer and then signing off on that answer as if it was yours? Have you personally felt those consequences? At an individual level, it's bad. At an organizational level, when you're scaling that to thousands of employees, it can be even worse. It's not just about losing the productivity and all of that. it also has a lot more to do with the brand reputation of your company and how much quality work you're able to get out. When you take that into high stakes businesses or high stakes organizations like healthcare or transit or flood mitigation or law, you cannot afford to make these mistakes that are caused by AI hallucinations. And the regulators won't let you. They're starting to catch on. They're starting to recognize what's happening. And as a responsible business owner, it's on you to make sure everybody in your organization has the tools, know-how, and resources to be able to do things properly so that they don't get stuck and get caught up with something more than just a fine.